Good evening. I really want to thank all of you for coming tonight. I know at 5 o'clock, a little late, so I really appreciate all of you coming. We are here, I am here to deliver to all of you the State of the School Address. And I love doing this. It's so exciting because it's a time to really celebrate everything that we've done in the last year and also acknowledge a lot of the work that we have to come. So before I start, I just want to say I'm excited because we have great representation in this room. I am seeing individuals from literally, I think, all of our departments and centers. We have our president, Jim Ryan. I'm so grateful that you are here representing. And we also have members of all three of our boards here, from our Board of Visitors to our Health Foundation Board to our UPG Board. And so I'm so grateful that everybody is here. Great collaboration. And again, we're all heading in one direction, and I love it. So with that, I want to start and just to review our organization. So for the School of Medicine, as you can see if you start on the bottom row, we have 20 clinical departments, we have 8 research departments, and we have 6 centers. And that rolls up to our School of Medicine. The School of Medicine is one part of UVA Health, and also part School of Nursing, our library is represented, our medical center, etc. Then UVA Health is part of our greater university. So just so we all understand the structure of what we are in with our unit. Now our mission is transforming health and inspiring hope for all Virginians and beyond. And that is such an incredibly good mission for us to follow, with our vision of being the nation's leading public academic health system and best place to work, while transforming patient care, research, education, and engagement with the diverse communities that we serve. And I will be showing you a lot of that engagement in a few minutes. Our values, I think we all are aligned with our Aspire values. I'm really proud of these values, and they've existed for a long time. Accountability, stewardship, professionalism, integrity, respect, and equity, diversity, and inclusion. So important to our core and who we are. And I have so many great anecdotal stories of where when we might have had scenarios that weren't quite right, what I love the most is either when our medical students or our residents are like, you didn't follow our Aspire values. I mean, that's how to the core our Aspire values are. We also have our new 2032 strategic plan. And hopefully you've all had a chance to see this, our One Future Together. And this was really the efforts of Jason Lenine and thousands of individuals across our healthcare system. And we have our 3 overarching pillars and our 11 different initiatives, as you can see with this. And I do think having this strategic plan helps us all, because it really helps us to know what we need to do to further our mission areas. So in that same vein, I want to share with you, because we're currently in the process of going through our department annual reviews, where we literally sit in a room, a whole bunch of us, and we review all 28 departments and 6 centers over a 2-week period. We're finishing tomorrow. But I'm really proud of what we were able to accomplish with last year's goals. And so you can see at the bottom, we had 455 goals spread out in all the different mission areas, as you can see there. And as a school and UPG, all of us, we completed 81% of these goals. And you can see our completion rate on these goals in the different mission areas. And again, I'm going to go forward and show you a lot of that as we tackle the different mission areas. So let me start with our people, which is one of the most important aspects of our School of Medicine. So this is part of our leadership. So starting on the top row is the leadership in the dean's office, and then you can see all of our pictures there. The second row, those are our 8 chairs of our research departments. And on the bottom row are our 6 center directors. Then we have our clinical chairs. These are our 20 clinical chairs leading our clinical departments. We also have some leaders who started just in the past couple of months and some leaders who are online who have yet to start. And so in the last couple of months, Jeff Martins, our Senior Associate Dean for Research, came to us from Florida. Scott Just, our CEO for UPG, also started on May 30th. Ling Chi is sitting over here somewhere. You changed. Started just on September 1st. And we also have Andy Muck, who started for emergency medicine September 15th. And Dr. Misra, I believe, is on virtually. She is going to be joining us as the new chair of the Department of Pediatrics. I think nobody is more happy than Dr. Notaro, who is sitting over here. Yes, look at how he's even leaning back on his chair. I love it. And Dr. Dudane is going to be starting, that was just announced on Friday, as our new chair of radiology, and he will be starting right after the holidays, and I believe he is also listening to this talk as well. So excited for our new leaders. And I want to point out, with all of our current leaders and our new leaders, we now are about 29% of all of our chairs are female, and 7% of our chairs are underrepresented in medicine. And so we're doing better with this. And I do want to see our representation continue to improve, but this is already a very good improvement. When it comes to our faculty, so we are growing. We're a growing institution. So at the end of fiscal year 23, so that was June 30th, we were up to 1,277 faculty. I just checked for October 1st, we're already at 1,291. So we're going to be hitting the 1,300 mark very soon. I looked to Dr. Pollard because her office handles a lot of this. And so we also track, as you know, very closely our departure rate. So the orange line going across all the different years, that's the departure rate. And to remind you, that includes our departures, our voluntary departures, our involuntary departures, and our retirements. So we did see a blip coming out of COVID. This was seen across the country, but our departure rate is considerably lower than the national AAMC rate of about 9%. So again, we track it closely. So what about the makeup of our school? So when it comes to rank, we're about a third on each rank. When it comes to our tracks, our largest track is our clinical faculty track at 44%, followed by our clinical educator track. And then you can see the remaining tracks. When it comes to our departures, and again, we look at this very, very carefully. These were the departures for last academic year, and you can see it was relatively evenly split between the different ranks and all the different tracks. And then you can see we're also looking at our gender and our underrepresented medicine status. That 10% represented 8 individuals. So it's a small number, but again, we keep track of this to make sure that there are no concerning issues. When it comes to our promotion and tenure, super proud of what has happened in the last 2 years. You can clearly see those numbers. So we entered into the triple-digit numbers of faculty who had promotion or tenure events, which is wonderful. And you can see the number, 41% were female and 5% were underrepresented in medicine in this last year alone. So that is fantastic because we want to see our faculty moving along the tracks and being recognized for the work that they are doing and being promoted. We have a lot to celebrate as far as all of the different activities that everybody is doing. So these are the Dean's Faculty Excellence Awards, and you can see there's the big named awards. We've got the Master Clinician Awards, the Excellence in Teaching, the Master Educator, the Clinical Excellence, the Excellence in Mentorship, Excellence in Research, and I love the Team Science Award. So great job for all the work that everybody is doing. But we also have so many people in this school that are getting recognized at a national level for their work. So just to point out a few, Ed Egelman. Ed Egelman was inducted into the American Association for Advancement of Science. That's a pretty darn big deal. And John Hosack in biomedical engineering was inducted into the National Academy of Inventors. We got Ziv Haskell, who received a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I could go on, and you could see all these amazing accomplishments nationally for what people are doing. We have individuals, we have some of our physicians that are contributing to how we care for our patients by being involved in national guidelines. So we have Andy Sutherland, who's worked on best practices for stroke patients with COVID. We have Alden Doyle, the UNOS kidney allocation policy, the American Heart Association. We have Maria Sequeira Lopez, who contributed to those guidelines. We have Andy Wang and Vanessa Shami, who contributed to the GI clinical guidelines. So again, this is evolving how we care for our patients. In total, our school has 22 members who have been inducted into the National Academy. I'd like to see that grow because I think that we are all doing amazing work, and it's just part of the nomination process, and we're trying to work on that and improving our process of getting folks nominated because I truly believe we have far, far more people who are deserving. We also have a lot of people serving at a national level as presidents of national societies, and really through that being able to influence the direction of all of our different specialties. In addition to serving as presidents, we have quite a few people who are editors of journals. Again, another way to really shape the dialogue. So proud of what we're doing and leading the way at UVA in the School of Medicine. When it comes to the research mission, we have had an amazing year. I think many of you hopefully saw the stories we put out. We had a truly unprecedented year for research. You can see it in this graph. We had a 27% growth in our research portfolio. It's not about the numbers, it's not about the dollars. That represents the fact that we grew and are growing our impact with what we are doing. And that is what is important to all of us. When it comes to that, we now represent 54% of the entire university's research portfolio. I think that is fantastic. When it comes to the type of research, so we're a school of medicine, so the predominant funding source is the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, and followed behind that in the gray, the other federal tends to be the DoD, and we also have some NSF, et cetera. And those are our big funders, and then you can see industry and nonprofit. Looking at our NIH awards, of course our NIH awards went up, and I'm going to come back to this in just a minute. We are, when you break down the NIH portfolio, we're a very R-heavy research school, I will say, and everyone should hopefully know that there is an initiative to grow our P and our U awards as well as our Ks. Our Ks are our career development. It's the pipeline, super important to us, along with all of them, the Ts, the Fs, you name it. So a question that I've been getting a lot is, well, how? How did the school grow its research portfolio in 1 year by 27%? Well, so we did an analysis, and I will just show you a couple slides to show you what it comes down to. So if you start big and you look at our funding sources, so we grew our federal research. You can see the blue bar to the orange bar, putting it very simply. So if you drill down on the federal research, as to be expected, we grew mostly in NIH dollars. And if you drill down on the NIH a little bit further, and you look at the different grant mechanisms, you can see that we really grew in our R awards. We did still have some growth in the P and the U on the dollar amount, but when you look at the number of awards, we really grew in number by the R's. The P's and the U's didn't change too much yet, but they did in the dollar amount. And then bringing this all home is I really like to look at this slide. So if you look at the 3 circles at the top that I have outlined, is looking at the number of distinct individuals who are PIs, that is where we actually grew 11%. So we have 11% new investigators in the school. compared to the prior year. And if you look at the number of awards per PI, we grew that by 8.6%. And we also grew our budget sizes. So we grew our budget sizes by almost 14%, which is great because many of you know that when we did the analysis, we're actually behind in our peers. We've been under asking. So this is fantastic. Now, the next question I get is, well, is it because you hired a whole bunch of new people? And I'm going to tell you no. So here are the faculty count year over year. We grew by 60 faculty. But if you look at the individuals who are on the academic investigator or clinical investigator tracks, which are the majority of the folks who are the independent PIs, that only grew by 12. So this grew from the hard work of everyone in this room and hopefully listening to this talk, everyone who's here, which is amazing, amazing effort. And the growth proportionally was extremely similar between our research departments and our clinical departments. So I'm really proud of what we are doing on the research mission because, again, it means we're all working hard to have an impact through our discovery science, our innovative research, and this means that our ability to do that is even greater. Our Blue Ridge rankings, now these come out in February, so this was last February's ranking, and you can see that the schools had a slow decline in this. We stabilized that. I think Jeremy and I both were betting, but I'm thinking we'll probably be, I was thinking around 37 or 38. Jeremy thinks 39. So we will see, but we will see an improvement in that. But again, that's just the number, and so we don't get too hung up on the number. When it comes to our clinical trials, which is what our patients are very interested in, we have 649 active treatment clinical trials that we have to offer to our patients. And you can see some are actively accruing patients, some are in the non-active accruing phase. But that is 2,514 subjects that we enrolled into our clinical trials last year. So that is a wonderful, wonderful thing that we are doing for our patients and really offering them state-of-the-art care. On our entrepreneurship, we have also been seeing some improvements on our entrepreneurship. So last year, we submitted 82 invention disclosures, 24 patents were issued, there are 3 new ventures, and 29 transaction deals. That is absolutely wonderful. And I know Rich is in his car listening to this, but I know we're keeping his office busy. You can see who are the areas that are actually the most busy. Leading the way, radiology, absolutely wonderful, followed by internal medicine, surgery, biomedical engineering, and radiation oncology. You can see the list. Great work. And this is, if you look at the blue bars, this is the revenue coming in from the intellectual property. And you can see that there is a clear trend in improving this. So that is wonderful. We also have a very big initiative that was announced about 6 months ago. And I hope all of you have already heard about this. This is the university is doing it. And this is the Paul and Diane Manning Institute for Biotechnology. And we have so much credit to give to Paul and Diane Manning for their incredibly generous gift to catalyze this, along with the university, UVA Health, and the state. So this is a rendering. This is one of the most recent renderings. So you all can expect it to look hopefully pretty similar to this. It's not the final. I believe the final approval is to be coming soon, but I'm pretty confident, unless Jim Ryan tells me to not say it, I'm pretty confident it's going to look something like this. We're close. And here is the timeline. And so the important things on the timeline, because it's a very busy slide, is groundbreaking. Groundbreaking is going to be in December. And first occupancy, you can see at the top, 4th quarter of 2026. And just to show you also a sneak peek, because we have many different advisory groups who are working really hard at this, this is a sneak peek of one of the schematic drawings of the floor plan of one of the floors. And so there is going to be lots of space, wet lab benches, shared common rooms, offices, workspaces for graduate and postdocs. I mean, you name it. Core facilities. We're going to have a CGMP facility, a vivarium, you name it. It's going to be wonderful. Do not hold me to these pictures. These are just some images that the architect has provided as possible looks. We are very far away from determining that, but just to give you an idea. Now in research, we also have I would love to call everyone out, but there are some very notable accomplishments. So Mark Breton, he received the UVA Innovator of the Year Award, and hopefully many of you saw, this was for the artificial pancreas for kids, and this was in New England Journal of Medicine recently. So that is incredible, and that came from here, from UVA. Kevin Pelfrey, $12 million grant for Autism Center of Excellence, one of only 9. Greg Townsend, over $6 million to support HIV care. Randy Moorman, almost $6 million, and this is for AI applications so that we can have a wider array for diversity of patients. We have Emily McGowan, almost $4 million, to study the immunologic response to food proteins, and Melissa Little, $5 million, to help the Appalachian residents quit smoking. So you can see the diversity also of the research that we're doing just on this slide alone. I love it. We have so many publications that have been highlighted. Here we've got, again, Ed Egelman and Letitia Beltran, published in Science, John Lukens in Cell, Ahmad Joma, Nature Communications. There's so many. I also want to call out, some of the articles that have been picked up by the media, like crazy pickups. So Mariano Garcia Blanco's publication in PLOS Pathogens was picked up by more than 150 news outlets. And Harish Narashian, this is one of our graduate students in our BIMS program, published an article in The Conversation about long COVID that was picked up by over 100 outlets nationally. So pretty impressive. Let's turn to our education mission. So our education mission, another strong point and high point for our School of Medicine. So these are what the numbers look like. We have about 800 trainees, that would be fellows and residents. We have 650 medical students, about 280 PhD graduate students, and 90 master's students. Our medical students, we have an amazing School of Medicine. I'm just going to say, look at the numbers. So our average GPA for our incoming medical students, 3.86, with MCAT scores 95th percentile. I can tell you this because you know I'm a data-driven person, and I look at this. When I look every year when the data comes out, and I look at the MCATs and GPAs of the top 10 medical schools, our students compare identically to Harvard and all of the top 10 schools. The thing that's been keeping us back on our rankings has actually been the research, so we're solving that. Our students are a strength. Last year, 99% of our students matched. It was just one, but that was the one medical student actually had the option to match. Where's Meg? Meg's over here, but opted to do a research year. So that is why we were not 100%, but that is unbelievable. We also have our Inova Campus. So our Inova Campus, to remind you, 1/4 of our medical school class, the Pin class, and you can see the picture of Vivian Pin right there, do their clerkship, their equivalent, their third-year clerkship rotations up at the Inova Campus. We just graduated our first cohort, and they matched extremely well. Inova is another strength to our School of Medicine. We had match day. This is always a happy day. And yes, Jim, we actually do pull the envelopes out of the gold bowl. I have fun doing that. That's my little role. But our match day, that is the day that our medical students find out where they matched into their residency program. We had our students matching into 29 different specialties across 30 states, and 23 students chose to stay here. And you can see these are the specialties that they are ranking into. Some of our highest areas, you can see internal medicine, pediatrics, orthopedic surgery. This was a banner year. So shout out to the orthopedic surgeons for attracting that many of our students into their specialty. Anesthesia right behind that, family medicine, OB-GYN, the list goes on. Our medical students are matching everywhere throughout the country, as you can see on this map. We also had, in April, our BIMS Lab coat ceremony. So this is for our PhD students. So after their first year, which is all their coursework, okay, when they're done with their coursework and they're about to start in their mentors' labs doing the actual research, we have the lab coat ceremony, and their mentor gets to put the white coat on them. It's another moving day. And so you can see this is pictures from that day. We had graduation, which is always fun. Walking the lawn, this is something, of course, I've been here for 2 years now, but it is just an unbelievable feeling being able to walk down that lawn. And the School of Medicine gets to lead the processional. It's a pretty amazing day. So we had our medical students, our PhD students, and our Masters of both Public Health and Masters of Science in Clinical Research graduate. I love the picture on the bottom. That's our Master's students, the ones that have their hands up. And then I know this didn't happen last year, but I had to include it. This just happened in August. This is when we welcome our brand new medical students, just finished college. They're so young. And we have the white coat ceremony. And this is also nice because our alumni, they have endowed those white coats that get put on to the students. And we had 160 new medical students who donned their white coat for the first time. Our residency training program is doing fantastic. You may not know this, but we just got a 10-year ACGME reaccreditation for the entire program without any citations. And I want to shout out to internal medicine, who is ranked 26 with US News and World Report in the country. We also look at our Doximity rankings. Now, you can criticize this, but our medical students do look at this, because this is mostly a popularity contest. But here's how our programs are doing on their Doximity rankings. You can see in the green, so we have 5 programs that are in the top 10% in the country. Look at family medicine. 37 out of 750 programs. Internal medicine, 35th out of 622. We have to be proud of all of these programs. And we have so many programs, I believe that's is it 11, that are in the top quartile. So great job, everyone. We had our LCME site visit. Boy, this was back in March, and this cannot be drawn out any longer. We still don't know. So we're going to find out our results in October. I know Dr. Keeley does not want me to say this, but I do feel that we had a very good visit, and we had she doesn't want me to jinx this. And we got really, really good feedback. She doesn't like this. But we will be finding out literally any day now because we're in October. So thank you, everyone, for the amazing work, because that was a lot. It was 2 years of work in the making. If you want to know what Dr. Keeley was doing for the last 2 years, that's what she was doing. Our clinical mission, so many great things happening on our clinical mission. So this is kind of the snapshot of all of UVA Health. So not just the School of Medicine, but we are part of UVA Health. So we are now part of a 6-hospital system with 2 physician groups, a $4.1 billion healthcare enterprise with over 1,000 beds at our 6 facilities. So that is wonderful and wonderful growth, and it is important to be a healthcare system in today's financial climate. Now, the numbers that you see there, we are offering a lot of care, from procedures to ambulatory, our clinic visits. Look at our telehealth engagement. Over 62,000 telehealth engagements. And emergency department. I know we're busting at the seams right now, but it's all good. Got it under control. So He's going to kill me over there any minute now. So on our clinic visits, now this is just here. So this is the work of all of our faculty here in the School of Medicine and UPG. And what you see is if you look at our outpatient clinic visits, you can appreciate in the last few years, we have really kicked into high gear. We are offering more and more services to the patients in our community. Now, we know that we have some operational efficiencies to be gained. Trust me, all of us who've tried to make an appointment to get in to see our doctors, it can be a challenge. We're working on it. So on the right-hand side, here's some of the data. So we're going through the waves. All the clinicians in the room are very aware of this. But we have our 5 different waves where we are trying to improve the operational efficiency of our clinics. And wave 1 was completed back in January. You can see the specialty clinics that went through that wave. So we do not have a full years of data yet, but already the phone calls coming in by patients, we already have a significant improvement in the number of calls answered within 30 seconds. That's actually a 28% improvement. We have a 27% more of patient referrals are now getting scheduled for clinic appointments. This is all in wave 1. We now are seeing 19% of new patient visits because of this wave. So that means we're reaching even more people in our community, which is great because it's so hard to get in here. And we've now in wave 1 completed 18% more visits. So this is great. The community needs this, and we're all working so hard, so we all appreciate it. We're also growing in our operative and procedural volume. Look at this. Again, this is just here. It does not include the community health. So you can see I also put, just to remind you, when we actually took on Monticello Surgery Center, and also last year the Orthopedic Center opened. And you can see the impact. Our surgical volume is growing, which is tremendous. We also did this last year. This was no small thing. We integrated revenue cycle and contracting across all of UVA Health. So what does that mean? So on the left, before integration, we had revenue cycle groups in every single one of those different circles. It was crazy. So now after integration, which it went through and we're still finishing some of the fine-tuning of this, but now that's what we look like after integration. And so we've already been appreciating a lot of improvements because of this effort. And this is the other thing that we did. This was a big deal. Before the integration, this is what it looked like. All these different entities were individually negotiating with our big payers. After integration, we are speaking as one voice with our payers, and it is making a huge difference. So these were really important things for us to do as a healthcare system. We've had some incredible milestones that we've achieved. I love this picture, Karen Bellin. I don't know if I saw her walking in the, yay, there you are. Okay, so we celebrated our 1,000th stem cell transplant. This program began back in 2012. And this is really for treating kids and adults who have things like leukemia, multiple myeloma, lymphoma. So this is incredible. So thank you for all of the hard work for that program. We also had, in January, so we had Sanjay Gupta come, and he filmed a segment for Vital Signs, which airs on CNN, as part of the focused ultrasound effort. And you can see Dr. Elias and team. I mean, focused ultrasound is another strength of this School of Medicine. So that was really cool. We also had our 10,000th robotic surgery. Didn't even know we were tracking it, to be honest with you. But that is incredible. This is, for many of the procedures we do, this is something that patients really want. And so that was another great milestone. This, I am really crossing my fingers for. Is Jennifer Payne here? Is she in the room? Well, Jennifer, we are rooting for you. So she is a finalist in the NIH Shark Tank competition. $8 million are on the line. Many of us voted for her. It was one of those voting systems. So the winners are not going to be announced until March of 2024. So let's all stay tuned and let's cheer on Jennifer Payne. This was for her discovery of genes that helped to predict when a new mother will experience depression. So really important work. All things pediatrics, knocking it out of the park. So these were the most recent U.S. News and World Report rankings. So our pediatric groups, 9 out of 10 of the programs are ranked nationally. From neonatology to GI, nephrology, orthopedics, diabetes and endocrine, cardiology, pulmonary, neurology, and urology. We have the #1 hospital in Virginia. Our adult groups also doing incredibly well. We have cancer, GI, orthopedics, pulmonary, and urology that are all high-performing specialties recognized nationally. And we have a lot of accolades from Newsweek. So from world's, so I want to say that again to you guys, world's best hospital, neurosurgery, oncology, and cardiology, nation's best hospital, so the medical center, and best maternity hospital. I remember when that came out. Where's Paula? So yeah, we were doing some high fives on that one. The state of Virginia's best hospitals for the medical center, neurosurgery, and oncology. Again, this is all just recognizing the work that everybody is doing. Now, when it comes to diversity, I love this picture. So this is from the 2nd annual Diversity in Neuroscience and Immunology program. Yep, there's Harry. And I love this wonderful picture. So here are our numbers of representation. So we are doing very well in many areas. If you start on the bottom and look up, so you can see our representation of females on the left and those who are underrepresented in medicine on the right. And you can see our representation of females and underrepresented medicine for both the masters and the BIMS. Look at that, it's through the roof. I mean, that number of females in the STEM sciences, I mean, that's like crazy good. Our medical student representation, also above the national averages for female and underrepresented in medicine. Then you can see our trainees, our residents and fellows, our faculty. Now we get to the one area where we do fall short, and that is our underrepresented in medicine for our faculty. And that we remain, and this remains an area that we need to continue to work on. So we're at 6.5%, and the AAMC data, the national average is 10%. So that's our one area where we need to continue to work to diversify what we look like. Again, we want to look like the community that we're serving. Now this is from our trainees. Don't know if many of you know about this, but it's incredible. So we just had the 5th annual Trainee Diversity and Inclusion Conference, where people literally come. You can see there are 100 individuals from 20 different institutions, and this is led by our residents. This was led by Eric Scott and Perry Bradford last year, and we had an amazing keynote speaker, Bonnie Mason from the American College of Surgeons. So good job. Now, when it comes to our community, there's a lot of activity going on. I love that picture. So we've delivered $183 million last year in charity care, and we delivered care to all 21 of our Virginia health planning districts. We also had 153 faculty and learners volunteer in our Charlottesville free clinic. That is amazing. Now, you see the 142 number. I want to expand on that. So as part of our department and center annual goals, we have community goals, and we recently collected all of the community goals of what everyone did last year. It was 142 events. These are just a few. There was the kidney screening event at Mount Zion First Baptist Church. This is our mammogram bus. On the top, this is a communications board that Emily Hilliker received a grant to actually install to help for nonverbal children and adults to communicate. You can see the little kid is actually using it. And then on the right, you can see the Surgery and Anesthesia Day Camp, hosted again by our House Staff Council. I love that. Our medical students, our first-year medical students have a day of service. And on the day of service, they volunteered at 19 different nonprofits. So you can see they're doing serious yard work in the bottom left. You can see students who volunteered at the SPCA and then serious work on the Habitat for Humanity. Again, great efforts by our medical students. Here, we also had the USDA came to make a huge announcement, and I want to recognize Karen Ruban. I'm not sure if she's here right now, but also she received a $5 million grant for all of the telehealth work that we were doing here. This is another differentiator for our school and UVA Health. And then on the right, that was the day that for National Doctors Day, UVA Health gave $30,000 to the Charlottesville Free Clinic on behalf of all of the doctors. That was very nice. Now our finances are strong. So you can see our finances. This is revenue, as you can see on the bar graph on the left, and you can clearly see the trend. So the clinical revenue is through our UPG partners, and then you can see all of the other entities. I'm realizing that the little chart that defined each color is not there, but it's the same as on the right circle. And the right circle is just showing you the revenue. So you can see the net patient services revenue is about just under half of our $1 billion combined enterprise. And then you can see research as well as all the other areas. So our financial health is very strong. But this is the slide that I really love. And I know Dr. Keeley loves this too. She's already smiling. The support, and I'll say Barry too, the support that we give to our students for scholarships. We all know tuition is high, right? Tuition for medical school is high across the country. But our scholarship and fellowship support over time, and even over the recent years to our students, has dramatically increased. And if you look at our medical students alone on the table on the right, and this even went up just in this last year, we are giving in scholarships to our medical students 14 million. This was 12 million last year. And so students that are receiving scholarship support, 482. So the AAMC looks at this across the country. So this puts us literally, we are in the top 15% in the country with the amount of scholarship support that we are giving out. And I can tell you, we meet with our students, and we actually ask them, why did you want to come to UVA? How did we get you here? And oftentimes, because they have choices, right? They have choices to a lot of great medical schools. But I would say, Mark and I have lunches with them, and so many of them, time and time again, say, oh my God, because of the scholarship support. And so that means that they're able to graduate with low debt. And so our medical students are graduating with only $161,000 of debt. That, believe it or not, I know you laugh, I say only. The average is over 300, but this puts us in the lowest 25th percent in the country, believe it or not. So I am really proud of these numbers, and it's a lot of hard work by so many people, and I've got an alumni slide coming up, but so many people. Our philanthropy. So this is Paul and Diane Manning, in case you have not seen them, met them, or know what they look like. So this was they give the amazing $100 million catalyzing gift that I already talked about. Our philanthropy, we just had a banner year. Amy Carr and her team, and also Barry Collins and his team, knocking it out of the park, $181 million for UVA Health, including the School of Medicine. We had 17 new endowments last year, and we are now up to a total of 208 endowed professorships. We received over 7,000 gifts from over 8,600 donors. And we had 17 gifts of over $1 million. I think Amy Carr's team, you're up to about 20 gift officers now. I hope I got that number right. But it is wonderful, and they are working with all of you. People are just so generous and want to give. And we know that giving, if it's supporting our research or our education or our clinical mission, allows us to do even more than we could without it. And these are just a couple examples of some of the amazing philanthropy. There's so many. The Farrell family supporting our pancreatic cancer research. We had 2 further gifts after the Paul and Diane Manning gift for biotech. The Crutchfields and the Cook family have also contributed for biotech. And then we also have the Norman Soskell and the Judith Berry, a new scholarship fund, which is incredible, to the already existing, long-standing, and very nice scholarship funds that we have. Our alumni. I have never been at a school of medicine with such a robust alumni network. Literally, I went to one of my own alumni, and there was like 5 of us. So Barry knows I say this all the time. We just had 400 of our alumni here, and that's normal for this school. It's unbelievable, and I love interacting with our alumni. So these are some pictures from our recent alumni. Our alumni, we have over 7,000 medical alumni, over 1,200 of our BIMS PhD alumni, and we also have over 500 of our master's alumni. And you can see the giving is tremendous. I know that Barry right now is actually working with some of our alumni to actually endow. We already have our white coats endowed, and we already have the stethoscopes are endowed. He's working towards, I want a doctor's bag, but working towards basically the tuning fork, the hammer, the otoscope, and the ophthalmoscope. I want it to be in a bag, but students say they don't want bags anymore. So here is our reunion event that we just had in April. Okay, I'm going to point out, look at the picture in the bottom right. How many women can you count? The days have changed. If you can pick out the women. Yeah, good, you got it. Dr. Keeley gets it. There were 2. It's changed. The day has changed. But I love interacting. When the different classes come, I have the privilege with Barry to go around and actually meet all of the different classes, and it's a highlight. We also had a BIMS reunion, because remember, BIMS just came into the School of Medicine not too long ago. And so this was amazing. This was attended by over 100 of our PhD alumni. And so this was also a great event that we hope to continue in the future. And then I'm going to end with some communications. I hope you are all taking a look at Medicine in Motion. It has become an incredibly important vehicle to disseminate what all of you are doing. And I certainly know it is picked up because the number of people submitting to Medicine in Motion has definitely increased, and I love it. I love seeing the stories of what everyone is doing every single week. So keep up the great work with that. This is coming to your mailbox soon. Yes, snail mail. So our second annual report that we're putting out since I have been here, we hope to have this mailed out in the beginning of November, and it basically has much of what I just presented to you today in the State of the School Address in the annual report. And we send this broadly. We send this to all of our alumni that you saw, and we send this to other schools across the country to show everyone all of the amazing things that you are all doing at this School of Medicine. I love it. So together, everything that I've shown you today, it has resulted in our U.S. News and World Report ranking for our School of Medicine. We're the number 11th best public school of medicine. And I think this is just going to continue to improve. Again, it's just a ranking, but it goes to show all of the amazing work that everyone is doing. I can end by saying that it has been an honor and a true privilege to be here for the 2 years that I've been here, serving as the Dean of the School of Medicine. I have so enjoyed working with all of you. And so events like this are a time for me to, again, say thank you to everyone for everything that you're doing. And I will end by saying the state of our school is strong. Thank you all.